Okay, good afternoon. First, the disclosures. I speak as a retired and independent civil and environmental engineer. I'm privileged to be active on the boards of the Fox River Study Group and the Friends of the Fox River. But I'm obliged to say that I speak for neither and thereby give both organizations plausible deniability for anything controversial I might say. So with that qualification, there are three messages that I'd like to share this afternoon. First, dam removal from the Central Fox River Valley as a program is still very much alive, despite the Army Corps stop work order communicated in December. Second, 2026 presents an opportunity to complete two key milestones that are necessary to advance dam removal, whether the Corps resumes work or not. And then finally, continued public understanding of and support for dam removal remains essential. So seeing helps understanding. Now we have a showcase in Carpentersville. We'll have a little history first, and then a 6-minute video inspection of the Fox's channel and shorelines after 517 days of freedom. And then I'll close with a few comments. Okay, 18,000 years ago in southeastern Wisconsin, a giant wall of ice and rock collapsed, releasing the Fox River Torrent. And in the geologic blink of an eye, Fox River Valley was carved. About 200 years ago, the Fox was dammed at Carpentersville. And in the blink of an eye, returned to its native plain, beginning in September of 2024. In October of 2024, we started to see her sands. And soon her fall colors. December, the dam was completely out and her bed was set for the winter. Our Fox in January had a whole new palette of colors for the new year. In April, she broadened with the spring rains. In July, she ran crystal clear. Her first anniversary was celebrated with grasses and wildflowers. And she emerged from under her icy winter blanket in February with golden grasses and crystal waters. So 517 days of freedom. We're going to take a look at the Fox River, running at 625 CFS. We're viewing from the top of the old impoundment near No Kings Road from above the new Fox River Shores boat ramp, and we're headed southbound. So we're going to take a side trip here down the secondary channel, which is almost dry while the main channel is flowing at 625 CFS. Here's the utility crossing that was exposed last spring and subsequently protected. These utility pipes maybe weren't buried at all 65 years ago, but the pipes have been secured and corrective actions are being evaluated right now. So before the dam was removed, the entirety of this area was shallow water, deep mud over sand and detritus. And this is where this Fox has been seen and reported to be only ankle deep. Here we are approaching the new or the old dam site. Those familiar with the location, cupola over on the right. River splits into two channels. The guy who drove the drone was a little erratic. So in the December immediately following removal, we saw this sandbar development. It was reported as a concern, but as expected, the sands have moved downriver through the Narrows by auto engineering. Gonna jump over Main Street. Again, this was at river flow of 625 CFS, which is about half the annual average flow for the river. This was the leading edge of the sand after those 715 days. But as we get beyond the furthest reaches of the new sand, notice how uniformly flat the bottom of the river is. Save a couple of old bridge piers. There's not a lot of structure there. What is the depth? Here I would guess it's probably about 3 feet. So by contrast, rather than a flat bottom, as we start traveling back upstream, we see that the sand, which had been held by the dam, is now providing great new fish and mussel habitat as it moves downriver. This red building on the right is Rosie O'Hara's, where you can get a great sandwich and maybe a couple of beers. We're approaching the new park on the right, Carversville, and the boat launch. Karen, your boat launch. It was cold for the winter. So the rivers had a remarkable first year, as we've just seen. But while the river is still finding her way, important work remains in 3 areas: sediment, hydraulics, and public acceptance. Sediments released from the former Carpenter impoundment are moving downstream, creating new habitat and clean river bottom along the way. These sandbars north of Main Street above auto engineering and the Narrows were visible in December 2024. We see by February of 2026, The narrows have cleaned out and the sand has moved down. 110 days following the initial notching of the dam, the leading edge of the sand had traveled a little bit more than a half a mile. By contrast, at 571, more than a year later, leading edge continues to move, but now even more slowly. Hydrologists tell us that we need 2 good flooding events to reach near steady state channel morphology. We're still at 0. So more changes can be expected, but this is exactly how rivers redistribute their sediments. Sediment volume. Another important observation, the volume of sediment that was calculated behind the Carpenter Dam in earlier studies appears to have been greatly overstated or widely misunderstood. The 2003 Fish Passage feasibility study calculated approximately 72,000 cubic yards of sediment had accumulated behind the Carpenter Dam. The deepest sediments were shown to be near the center of the impoundment. But rather than being released when the dam was removed, the material at the center remained in place, forming an island rather than washing downstream. It's become the island that is separating the river's primary and secondary channels. Any study assumptions that use those 2003 estimates for sediment quantities should be revised. Sediment quality. Concern about sediment toxicity has been expressed in likely every municipal letter of intent sent to the Army Corps this past year. In 2025, the Corps sampled sediments at locations of concern identified by the host communities. And when the Corps issued its stop work order last year, those samples still had not been analyzed. Presumably, there's some sitting in somebody's freezer, waiting for transfer authority and money. I just don't know. But completing those analyses matters. And the Corps has suspended work indefinitely. People will want to know if the Fox's riverbed is now clean and all legacy agricultural and manufacturing contaminants are gone. When combined with long-term fish tissue studies, such as these showing declining PCB concentrations from 1974 to 2017, we may soon be able to say something remarkable like, the Fox is clean and free of all heritage, industrial, and agricultural pollution. Think of the immediate reputational change. For that reason and others, those sediment samples need to be analyzed and reported, and there's no good reason why that can't happen. It just needs to be done. Hydraulics. The second major opportunity for 2026 is knowing the river, how the river will change when a dam is taken out. People need to know, to plan, to imagine, even to assuage fears. The Fox River Study Group has contracted for a water penetrating LIDAR survey that will be completed this spring. The results of that study will be combined with new Illinois DNR bathymetric data to create a high resolution hydraulic model of the central Fox River Valley. This model will likely be assembled by IDNR with input from the study group and others, and made available in an industry standard format for communities and engineers. This model will allow people to understand and plan for habitat restoration, recreation access, boating conditions, and shoreline improvements. And with the new model, some residents who now oppose dam removal may discover that without the dam, they or their neighbors may no longer face FEMA flood insurance requirements or remodeling restrictions on their homes. This new model will be a key tool in helping to make those determinations. Public support. Clean water is one of the most bipartisan issues imaginable. In a survey of 116 Carpentersville residents before the dam was taken out. Only 3 said that river water quality was not important to them. By a large majority, residents indicated they would be willing to sacrifice the dam if doing so improved water quality and habitat. Only 8 respondents believed historic preservation of the dam was more important than either improving the river or saving taxpayer money. But perhaps the most telling number is more than half of the respondents did not consider the dam important at all. But it was clear from their answers to the other questions, they already valued the river for itself and its future and not its dams. In the end, the case for dam removal on the Central Fox River comes down to 3 simple reasons: save lives, save money, and reclaim the heritage of a clean, clear, and safe Fox River. All 3 goals are within reach. A quote from Wallace Stevens reminds us that meaningful change only happens through steady work of many people over time. Many of those people creating the meaningful change that I've described here this afternoon are in this room today. Thank you for the time, the expertise, and persistence that you've devoted to improving and protecting the Fox River. If we stay focused and continue moving forward step by step, this important work can be completed sooner than most people will expect. Thank you very much for your time. I have time for a couple of questions.
Yeah, the sediment issue, Art, my understanding is that IEPA has been monitoring sediment contamination going back for decades. And as part of the permitting process, there was also a requirement to do an evaluation. And so what you're referring to is like kind of a final after the fact on sediment quality?
Yes, there have been, as you said, there have been a series of sediment studies that have been done for the past 20, 25 years. And but when the dam hosting communities up and down the river were polled, each one said, well, you didn't check this location, or you didn't check that location, or we have a question about this other location. And so it's those locations that were pointed out by the communities as having specific issues, but perhaps that's what the Corps went in and took a look at with the samples. Thank you.